Previously on PolyArmoury.
So sitting behind this huge-ass desk is a little old lady with white hair and slightly square glasses, and she appears to be a goblin.
Well, shit.
And she's just gonna reach under the desk and hit a button, and the doors behind you are gonna slam shut. At that moment, just falling backwards out of a cupboard comes Skitata. Like a portal opens up in front of the spider's mandibles. On the other side, you can see a sort of smoky, blue-grey and black world. Stepping through are three creatures. They're sort of tall, glowing with an inner blue-white light. Their eyes are milky white. They've got a sort of pronounced brow ridge, but apart from that, they're sort of waxy. They look like they might be slimy, but if you actually touch them, they aren't slimy. So you unlimited power straight into Brilmara's face.
Yeah.
And it's flying into her eyes and eyeballs, and her ears just explode out of the side of her head.
The most efficient way to search the desk is to knock all the drawers out. And the most efficient way to knock all the drawers out is to knock Portal Pink into the desk.
She smashes into the desk, flips it over, all the drawers come flying out, face down, and Portal Pink, you just hear this nasty crack as she hits and folds into the desk, and she too does this weird gummy thing and turns into another one of those fleshy blue and grey lumps.
Nice.
We're just trying to run a perfectly normal business here. Pay no attention to the spider behind the curtain.
No.
Okay, so 5 locks down, the spider is gonna rear back and just jam both legs straight through Granny Smith. You are left there, standing in the room, with, there's now 4 of these weird blue-grey things with the milky eyes.
If we get you unchained, which we are in the process of doing, can you go back and bring them with you?
I could free them, but first I would need someone to cross over into the other world and cut my connection to the web.
Well, I mean, if we don't go through and deal with this, it's probably going to be a recurring issue. Plus, doppelgangers means there's probably some people in there that could do with rescuing and would probably be very thankful and give us a lot of reward, one would hope. I believe everyone's heading through.
So you all step through the portal, and you hear a whoosh as it just immediately closes behind you. And you're in basically the same place you were, but there's no colour to everything. It's all sort of blue, black and white. Leading to where the portal was, you can see this sort of thick spider thread. Just a single thread, and it appears to be sort of glowing and pulsing. As soon as that tether is cut, the sort of glowing, smoky form of the queen spider just sort of almost seems to fold in on itself and then just blink away. You are sat in this dark world alone, with no real knowledge of how you're going to get back, and no idea what to do next. So, last week we left you all trapped in a strange place.
We're in the mystery zone.
The mystery zone. It's all sort of ethereal and weird.
Ooh, ethereal is mysterious.
It is?
I can put my hand through stuff.
Ooh, you can. So, with that in mind, as I described it previously, the walls, you're still basically in the same office you were, but everything is sort of intangible. Everything looks like sort of flickering smoke as you look around, just the room that you're in. So, do you want to take this moment to have a short rest?
I feel like that's sensible.
Yeah.
Do we all, perchance, happen to level up while we take this rest?
I think given that you've just had a huge boss fight, I think it's only fair that you have a bit of a level up.
Hooray!
So do you want to tell me
Hooray.
all? Let's start with D. What did you get for your level up?
I took Revivify on the off chance someone dies. And Mass Healing Word.
So many heals. And what about you, Skitata? What have you got?
I've taken Hypnotic Pattern
Ooh.
and Eldritch Spear as my invocation.
Pointy.
Hypnotic Pattern's a great spell.
Yeah, it is. And Dusty, what have you got?
More hit points and a bit faster.
Faster and more hitty. Oh, you're going to be one of those. And tell me, Brilmara, what do you have?
Oh, I've got all sorts of stuff as a warlock.
Ooh.
I get some bonus HP. My proficiency bonus goes up.
Nice.
I learned a new spell, Vampiric Touch,
Pointy.
which is another one of those spells that does damage over time without me having to use up an extra spell slot.
Excellent.
And it regains me health back while I use it. So
I mean,
that's
you are
cool.
quite squishy.
Yeah, it's very good for me to be able to re-heal while doing big damage.
Ooh.
I also got a new Eldritch Invocation, Armour of Shadows, which allows me to charge Mage Armour on myself at will without expending a spell slot. And because I'm a level 5 Duragar, I now get invisibility once per short rest.
Oh, damn. So bigger, smaller, and invisible.
Yeah, I can magic armor myself, go invisible, and drain the life force from people.
Nerf Brilmara, Brilmara OP.
Brilmara very squishy. Brilmara barely OP. One big punch to the face, Brilmara's gone.
I'm complaining to Dendar. I'm going to whinge to Dendar on fantasy Twitter. So, you've rested. What are you doing?
I'm waiting to be told what to do.
I'm petting Dusty.
I'm having a great time.
I think Brilmara's first instinct would be to look around for any signs of A, life, and B, any life that maybe isn't ethereal spiders. Try and do some kind of investigate or look around, or like, are there any tracks? Are there anything we could follow? What would be a good starting direction?
Okay, how are you looking around the room? Are you just sort of looking around the ethereal room that you're in?
Initially looking around the ethereal room that we're in, and seeing if there's anything like any signs that from where the portal was, tracks from there or something.
There's nothing really visible. Roll investigation for me.
3.
At some point, you realise that because you can just phase through things, you just stick your head in a cupboard. It's like, nope, nothing in there. Don't need to worry about trying to open anything. Just, nope, nothing in there. You could see through what wasn't the door, but...
Yeah, I think for flavour, Brilmara, while discovering she could put her head through things, puts her head through the floor, and then takes her head back up and then realises, why don't my feet sink through the floor?
Okay, so you stick your head through the floor, and while you're sort of trying to get down onto the floor, you stick your head through, and for a 3, you do a forward roll forward, which puts you sort of at a weird access through the floor.
Am I clipping through the floor?
Essentially, yes.
Help!
What would Dusty do to try and pull Brilmara back up?
I mean, she's not far. You could theoretically, I suppose, just kneel down and try and pull her.
Do that.
Let's have a strength roll.
20.
Yeah. Okay, for a 20, you pull her up, and you're a bit vigorous about it, and there's almost a twang between you, like that Sonic Chaotix, where this sort of elastic between you sort of bounces back, and she is pulled like up above your head, and then starts to pull you away from the floor. So you're now about what would be 5 feet in the air.
At this point, Brilmara is just is gonna try and use that telepathic ability to go, "Hey, Spider Queen, you in this realm?"
What's the range on that?
Within 30 feet.
Okay, within 30 feet you get nothing.
Okay, so
Dusty.
that Spider Queen didn't just like pop into the same realm as us in the same spot.
You saw where she was physically in the realm while she was sort of stuck on the other
But
side.
she's not at that point
She's
in the
not
ethereal
at that point
realm.
here.
Or anywhere nearby. Okay.
Not that you can tell, and you're not getting any response from her. Dusty, you're attempting to put Brilmara down. So you sort of grab her out of the air and try and put her on the XYZ axis of what is the floor. And she's sort of pointed... She's slightly at an angle to the floor, like she's been placed in this world slightly wrong.
She'll do.
Yeah.
I don't like this, Dendar, help! I'm floating.
You know that string we cut?
Yeah?
Should we just follow the piece of string and see where it goes?
Is that piece of string still there?
There is the thread. You can see the thread.
Brilmara grabs onto it and starts pulling herself by the arms, floating, just like pulling herself along the string.
Okay. Yep. So you're pulling yourself along, and it's like you're trying to sort of pull yourself through mud while pulling on this rope, like doing army crawls, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not like pulling yourself through the ISS. Is everyone following?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dee will follow.
And are you just sort of walking along?
Yep. Cautiously, like I'm ready to catch Brilmara at any second.
Okay.
Dee will follow amused.
So at this point, it looks like Brilmara is sort of lying on her belly, pulling herself along the floor by this string. And you're all sort of walking along behind her. But at some point, the thread goes basically through a wall that would be to the outside of this of the building you're on.
Right.
And you just keep going.
I mean, Brilmara's in for a penny, in for a pound. She's going to stick her head through that wall, see where it goes.
Okay, you stick your head through the wall. You're pulling yourself through, but you don't feel like there's any pull on your top half.
Okay.
There's no gravity pulling you downwards.
Oh, okay. Right, I'm just going to pull myself the whole way through then.
Okay, you pull yourself the whole way through, and it is almost as if the floor in that room didn't matter.
Oh. Hey, everyone, just pull it. The floor means nothing. Come on through. Follow me through. It's cool.
She hasn't plummeted out of the...
Floors are an illusion created by big capitalism.
by big floor.
Capitalism invented floors to keep us down. Follow me.
Are you following?
Dee will grimace, but still attempt to follow, but on foot.
Okay, so Dee walks through the side of the building that isn't there, and you just... It's like you were walking along the rest of the floor.
At this point, Brilmara's going to stand up, realising she probably didn't need to pull herself along this.
Yeah, and you stand up, and it is just like you're standing up, normally.
Dusty hates this.
Not a fan of walking through invisible nothing sky floor.
He doesn't understand it and he can't hit it.
It's a lot of thinking.
Can I get a group perception check, please?
That's 23 for Dusty, 6 for Skitata.
10 for me.
And Dee?
8.
Brilmara and Dee, not seeing a lot, but the other two, you can see what looks like it's sort of above you, but the whole concept of up and down is real shaky right now. You can see, technically above you, what looks like a warthog, like a large warthog being sort of attacked by small white-blue figures. And it's sort of just leaping around and trying to shake them off.
How big is this warthog-looking thing?
From your perspective, pretty big, but far away.
I mean, if it looks big while it's far away, that means it's real big.
I mean, right now it looks like a normal warthog that would be at your ankles, but being climbed up by these tiny half-inch little figures.
I feel like we don't mess with that. That sounds very big.
That does sound very big.
Is it cute?
It's a warthog. I think they're quite cute.
Do we just keep following the cable, ignore this thing?
I like that idea.
Okay.
I don't want to mess with anything too big and scary.
So you basically keep following along the thread. You can see the great crystal at the center of Groibon. And down there appear to be quite a lot of buildings, just covered in lots of spider webs. You can see small but reasonably not too far away. Just these blue and white spiders you've seen kicking around.
Can I investigate the spiders?
You can. They're just sort of climbing up the buildings.
17. I'm rolling really good today.
Yeah. Well, let's hope you get some of those if it comes to combat.
Oh no, I'm going to get them all out of my system now.
Alright, okay. I mean, that's generally what happens with D&D. What are you looking for?
just a general investigator of the spiders and the town.
Do they seem bothered by us?
They don't seem to have noticed you, which is unusual because you're tugging on a spider thread. I mean, actually, are you, or are you just walking next to it?
I think Brilmara's still holding on to it as they go.
Okay. But just walking next to it?
Yeah,
sort of-
just...
Okay. In which case then, yeah, there are spiders, they seem to be noticing you. I'm guessing because you're twanging the threads on their web.
Yeah.
And they don't look too bothered either way.
They're not like, oh god, it's the humans, the earthlings from the prime material plane, we gotta go get them, those monsters.
They seem to be aware of you.
Not like angry or scared or anything.
How well do you know weird
That's
spiders from another
fair.
dimension?
Can you brain speak?
I can brain speak within 30 feet.
Do you want to get within 30 feet?
I mean, how far are we away from them right now? Is that massively
Let's
a
say
massive
about 100
detour?
feet.
Okay. Brilmara's gonna just suggest, like, okay, you all wait with the thread, make sure we don't miss the thread. I'm gonna ask see how they're doing. I'm just gonna ask them how they're doing. And Brilmara heads to about 30 feet away and mentally messages one of them. Hey spiders, how you doing?
Escaped from the doppelgangers, did you?
Oh no, we the queen, big queen one. Do you know the queen?
Our Majesty, of course.
Yes.
No.
Yes, we freed the queen. We cut the thread thing so the queen could come back, and we're in here now. Hey, we suspect we would not be the property of the doppelgangers. We're on chill terms with the queen.
The Queen has returned.
Yes. Do you know where the queen would be? I feel like the queen could really help us out right now.
In her palace.
If we follow this thread, is that going to take us there, or are we going like complete wrong direction?
That is the thread that leads to the network. It's connected all the worlds, while the world was still all there.
Okay. So if we wanted to go find the queen for help, what way we... Directions feel really weird here. How do we find that?
Her home is within the ethereal version of your crystal.
Oh. Do we know where the crystal is?
It's right up there.
Oh, okay. Can we just, like, swim up there? I don't know how ethereal planes work.
Sure, you swim up straight upward.
Brilmara just shouts, okay, everyone, we gotta swim up to the crystal.
Okay, and it's like you're just like pulling yourself along the ground like a turtle on your tummy, but up towards the crystal. But you are lifting upwards.
How does everyone else feel about swimming upward?
I mean, it makes as much sense as everything else has.
Dee would try and go on their back and then continue to walk.
Okay, so Dee sort of leans back slightly and steps almost up an invisible wall, and then just continues walking towards the crystal, outpacing the swimming attempt from Brilmara.
Brilmara swims really furiously. Brilmara was really good at swimming as a kid.
In a moment of pity, Dusty picks her up by the back of the clothes and just drags her along the new floor.
Okay, so you sort of pick her up by the back of the clothes.
I resent the suggestion that Brilmara's a bad swimmer.
I'm
She's now
helping.
sort of swimming through the knot air, like if you picked a toddler up by the back of the dungarees. It's got
Doing
much
great,
easier to do
Brilmara.
this, right? But Dusty is, I guess, walking next to Dee, just walking towards the crystal. As you approach, you notice that there are quite a lot of these glowing spiders up here. And while the rest of the world seems to have that sort of ethereal, constantly moving smoke look to it, the spiders here just look like they did when you saw them in your world.
So a bit more tangibly glowing.
Solid, yes. They're glowing. They're blue
Yeah.
and white, but...
Hey,
Not a
hey. Hey, spiders.
Who are you?
We rescued the queen. We cut the tether and the queen was able to come back. Is the queen around?
Stay here. You will be watched.
And That spider sort of scuttles off. You don't know where they go. You kind of lose them amongst all the other spiders. But after a few minutes, they return, and you are bid to follow them. There's a lot of spiders here. They're like 5 to 6 feet tall.
Brilmara's just looking at them all like, well, this is what's going to fuel my next few nightmares, I suppose.
Can I have an autism roll from you?
Wisdom save. That's a botch.
Okay, so that's going to be 2 points of stress, I think.
Oops.
You have so much wisdom that you're currently being carried like a toddler and don't seem to have registered it, so...
There's a lot of sensory input going on right now, guys.
It's okay. You'll just keep carrying you until you decide that you're done with that.
Okay, how's everyone else doing?
Dee's fine with it. Nick hates all of this.
If Dee is okay, then Dusty's fine with it. He's just worried about Brilmara.
Skitata seems to be in a deep conversation with one of the spiders.
Is this absolute gibberish?
Mm-hmm.
And also not having the mind-linky thing.
Yeah, the conversation might be a...
Bit one-sided?
Yeah.
Is this like when infants are babbling and it's like, you're clearly trying to communicate something to me, but I have no idea what on earth you're on about?
Yeah.
Okay, so is everyone apart from Skitata heading off, following that spider? You head off through the crowd, keeping very close to the spider. Others will move out of your way. You find yourself some sort of ducking slightly under somebody, or just around them. You don't really know what's quite courteous. Is it like walking under a ladder? Do you walk under a spider leg, even if it's at an odd angle, or do you make the extra effort to walk around it? You know, it's an interesting social interaction you're having to deal with. There's a lot of bodies up here. They're all very close. Eventually you are led into what looks like an opening, sort of nearer the roof of the cavern that would be. And by the way, if you turn back, you can see the whole city arrayed out below you, but in this weird wispy smoke.
I mean, if I were good at art, that sounds like a beautiful thing to draw.
Maybe someone will draw it when this comes out. Who knows? Eventually you're led into this sort of tunnel into the crystal, and given the fact that this is a space rather than you've just walked through into the crystal, you get the impression that this hole exists on the real crystal as well.
Ah.
You walk through into a hole, and there is just a space in here. And because you're inside quite a dense object, it's all very, very bright. You would have a hard time picking out anything outside of the crystal. So you imagine that it would probably be very difficult for someone to, say, spy on this.
That seems good.
And there before you is the Spider Queen, looking freer, certainly, than last time.
Hey, Queenie. I'm glad we didn't mess that up. Did we sort everything out for you? You all good?
I very much appreciate your assistance in freeing me.
Well, that's good. That's good. So, couple of questions. You know how we helped you get back home? Well, funny story. We are now stuck here. Do you know any way we can get back, on the ground in our dimension?
That might be a problem at the moment. Our world was damaged as a result of the action. The abuse of the ether web has shrunk our entire plane of existence. The Titan is awake.
Oh, not the Titan. Oh no.
The doppelgangers appear to be fighting with them.
Okay. So, I'm just going to lay this out here. I think I speak for everyone in our group when I say our perfect solution here would be fix whatever you've got to fix so that your world is fixed enough that we can go home. Maybe rescue some of the people who got doppelgangered, because that is going to be good for business, one would suspect. And then we get out of your hair. So, what do you need from us so that we can, maybe pick up some very grateful people who will pay us money and leave?
We can arrange to free the prisoners If you can assist the Titan, perhaps we could make an arrangement to get you all back once the portals are working again.
Okay, I'm on board with this, but I feel the need to point out one thing. Can we get some kind of like high-vis jacket or ID badge or something that tells the Titan we are on the Titan side and not against them? Because I don't want us to stroll up and go, "Hey Titan, we're here," and get smushed before we can, help them.
Perhaps best not to raise arms to it.
Well, I mean, if it's the thing, is it the thing that looks like a warthog?
It is a giant boar.
Yeah, so the doppelgangers are climbing it. My worry is if I throw a fireball at a doppelganger and it accidentally hits the Titan, that's a problem.
Maybe stick to the ones on the ground. Just saying.
Well, that's my point. If we just take out the ones on the ground, will that be enough? I'm trying to make sure we don't piss this thing off.
Start with the ones in the ground. I will send some of my assistants with you.
Okay. I relay this all back to the group. Yeah, so we apparently if we fight some doppelgangers, that'll fix the world, and that'll get portals that'll take us home, and they'll release the people who are captured by the doppelgangers so that we can take them back for a handsome reward. That sound good to everyone?
That sounds fucking brilliant. I get to break things, and that's it, right?
Yeah, just I can't stress this enough. Do not hit the big boar. Do not anger it.
Okay.
We gotta be real careful. Go for the ones that are on the ground, go for the ones that are nowhere near the boar. Try and do everything we can to not... how would I word this? If this were a game, perhaps, that someone were playing, try not to roll the lowest possible number. Because that feels like that might accidentally inadvertently hit the ball. I'm just saying, everyone. This would be a real bad time to really screw up something you were trying to do.
That feels pointed.
Dusty doesn't understand, so he just starts walking in the general direction of the bar, still carrying Brilmara.
Did you never put her down?
I assumed I'd been put down, but I do like the mental image that whole conversation with the Spider Queen, I was just being held up by the dungarees.
Like baby Simba?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking more like Mission Impossible, just being held from the middle.
I'm now picturing the scene from The Lion King where Simba gets the sort of mark put on their forehead, but instead it's eyeshadow being put on one thumb at a time.
No. Okay, so you leave the throne room? No,
The crystal zone.
No, that's
Crystal web.
That's the crystal maze.
Yes. You leave Rishidiah Waddy alone. Who will be playing the part of the Spider Queen this season. You head out of there. A few spiders are sort of summoned to go with you. You've got like 3 or 4 spiders with you. We'll say 4, because that'll be easier to focus on.
Each of us has a spider buddy.
Yeah, it's a buddy system.
Is Skitata's spider buddy the one he was talking to?
Funny enough, no. That one's just looking really fucking confused, and in fact has tried to walk off.
Is Skitata willing to let this one go?
Yeah.
Once you're outside, you start heading towards the Titan. Yes, no?
Yeah. We head to the Titan. Cool.
Okay, it takes you about sort of 20 or 30 minutes to get there, and as you get closer, this thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's bigger than some towns you've been to. It's big. I mean, if you happen to be, say, some kind of document of a number of creatures, you might describe it as a gargantuan monster. It's big. It's a large friend. And there are just doppelgangers, hordes of them, like climbing up it and just punching it and just attacking it and seemingly trying to overwhelm it.
Are we within 30 feet of it?
You can be if you want to.
I want to get within 30 feet of it in order to attempt to tell it, hey, we're here to help you.
Are you still being, like, held... Or have you...
I feel like this is up to Dusty. Have I been put down yet?
You can be put down when you tell me to put you down.
Can I get down, please? I'm just sort of wiggling my legs, not able to touch the floor.
I like the idea.
Fussy baby kicking.
Yeah, I like the idea that as Dusty lets go, you just just suspended in the air.
Someone rotate me into stand?
You can rotate yourself.
Can I? Yes. Brilmara had not worked that out.
What did he do it?
I know. Well, here's the thing. Brilmara was already swimming upwards by that point, so Brilmara did not see Dusty or Dee.
Sorry, I will stop railroading you. So.
No, it's okay. I'm being silly. Brilmara eventually realizes she can just rotate herself the correct way up, and attempts to message the Titan. Hey, we're here to deal with these things that are attacking you. We're on your side. Please don't squish us or anything.
You don't really get a response. You can't really tell if it's acknowledged you at all.
Well, that's okay, as long as we've made an attempt to let it know.
There's a lot of humanoids on the ground right now.
Yeah, so we have attempted to let it know. Who wants to start fighting some humanoids?
Always?
At this point, the doppelgangers are in their sort of neutral state, where they basically look like blank, fleshy mannequins with milky white eyes. They're alive, so they have their glow on rather than being dead and lifeless and lightless.
Is it time for initiative?
I'm gonna need another stress test from Brilmara.
Oh no. That's an 11.
Okay. You're still on 2.
I initially, it made the sound, but it hadn't rolled the dice yet. I thought I'd botched a second time in a row on a stress test.
Oh, that would have been very bad.
That would have been very bad.
Very bad indeed. Okay, so everyone, do you want to roll me some initiative?
Why the heck not?
13.
3. 12.
20.
Okay, so you're... As if this was an Arkham City game. Everyone forms like a circle around you.
Okay.
And,
Yay!
And there are just 4 engaging with the 8 of you.
Fight Club!
So Brilmara, you're up first.
I'm gonna try out a brand new spell. I'm gonna try Vampiric Touch.
Oh heck.
That is a crit. That is 25.
Okay, how was that? Tell me about your vampiric thingy.
So, I basically run up to one of these and physically touch them with my hand.
It feels kind of rubbery.
Yeah. And because I have done my spell correctly, on a hit, the target takes 3d6 necrotic damage, and I regain half of that to my health.
Okay.
And I can keep doing it, yes, so for up to 10 turns, without having to reuse a spell slot.
Oh heck.
So, because that was a crit, do I do double damage? That is
27.
27 damage, and I'm on full health, so I don't regain any, but that'll be useful for next turn when I can
Give
keep
me
doing
some
it.
flavour. What does this look like?
Brilmara just sort of grips her fingers into the shoulder, and you can just see the shoulder starting.
It's really cold as well as rubbery.
Yeah, the shoulder just starts to get slightly wrinkled.
Oh.
It's starting to wither from that shoulder
Okay, so they're
outwards.
sort of pruning. Are they doing like the thing with the black veins starting to spread across?
I think purple veins, but
Oh,
there's
purple.
definitely a sort of
The only purple thing in this entire dimension.
yeah. It's gonna be fucking mind blowing if you're from here.
It's horrifying. So you just dig your hand into this thing's shoulder, and you've been studying this. This is a thing you've only slowly worked up to. It's a new power to properly master, and it feels like you've just gone fucking ham on this thing. Because what you expected to be was like touch, a little wither, a few purple veins that start to thread over a few 6-second periods, let's say.
Yeah.
It just... The whole thing, gone. Thing is dead on
Did
the...
I just suck this creature into me?
Sucked it to death.
Brilmara, having experienced a bit of stress this episode and also embarrassed herself by swimming while held up by the dungarees, is finally feeling cool again.
I think we can take 1 stress off of you for that.
Yay!
Because doing something just that badass, that's fine. Dusty, what you got?
I've got a rage, and as of level 5, I can attack twice per turn.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to pick someone and ruin their day with a 19 and a 21. Do those hit?
Both hit.
9 and 11.
9 and 11?
Plus 2 for the rage.
Okay, so you just smack them repeatedly in the head with the hammer, and, like, they start, like, snotting out slimy blood. It's sort of thick and almost like silicon grease.
Oh.
Next up is Skitata.
Oh god, this might be really bad.
Good luck.
Skitata reaches deep into his sack.
I mean, who doesn't reach around their sack every now and then?
I mean, it's a bit late.
And pulls out in each fist a bunch of... Are they dandelions? The one with the fluffy balls?
Yeah.
Dandelion clocks.
Yeah, and then he's going to start spinning around and all the fucking fairy things go flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh. If one of the doppelgangers grabs one, do they get a wish?
Do you have any idea how OP the spell wish
Oh
is?
god, don't give them wish.
Do not let them catch those. They're dangerous.
So Skitata's just used sleep. Right. Roll 5d8. The total is how many hit points of creatures this spell can affect.
Ah, yeah.
Creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose, based on the round Skitata, within range are affected in ascending order of their current hit points, starting with the creature that has the lowest current hit points.
So you've got 48.
So the one that's just had a good old spanking from Dusty just passes out cold, then another one passes out cold, and the last one starts to look really drowsy, but they manage to make a sweet recovery. That one is going to take a swing now at Dusty, 21
Hit.
and 9. So they're sort of sleepy. They take the one hit on you, and that just slaps you for 10 bludgeoning damage. And the other one just sort of it barely just claps on your cheek.
Aww.
Oh, poor sleepy babies.
Right. Next up we have D.
D will take their mace and go for the slept ones.
So the ones that are already asleep. Cool.
Do you have to...
You can roll with advantage for that, I think. They're lying on the floor.
Awesome.
I'm glad
I
you got
needed it.
advantage for that batch.
That's embarrassing. Just move on.
Yeah, it's like playing golf. You sort of swing, it just whistles over the top of the ball. You gave them a good scare, probably.
If they weren't asleep. No one saw that.
No, I mean, no. The spiders step in, and the first one just sticks, like, one of its pointy legs just straight through one of the sleeping one's heads. There's something really weird and squelchy about, like, a popped doppelganger. They're just unpleasant, but you can tell they're dead because their light sort of goes out.
I softened it for him.
And they sort of step around getting the ones that are asleep. And the last one takes a swing at Sleepy Doppelganger and manages to just sort of lift them up on like two front legs and then just slam them into the ground. And they're free from life. The next lot are going to start moving in. So we're going to have an attack on one of the spiders. So from the crowd, one of the doppelgangers takes a swing at the spider that just cracked his mate in half. And that spider looks not super happy, I'll be honest. But not bleeding, so that's probably okay. Next one's taking a swing at Dusty. 9, 21. So they take the first swing slightly before you. The second one is just a real slap to the side of the head. Dings you in the ear for 8 bludgeoning damage. Next one is going for Skitata. 21 and 20.
That's gonna hit.
So they smack you around the head for 15 damage. And the last one is going to take a swing at Dusty as well. 27.
20 hits.
So they slap you in the face for 10. And then just it's so overpowers them that they spin round and hit the deck. So they're prone before you. Or technically just standing at a different angle, perhaps. It's weird round here. Takes us back to the top of the list with Brilmara.
What's the state of the enemies around us currently?
4 dead and 4 fresh ones.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to continue my vampiric touch on a new target.
Do you need to do anything for a new target?
No, vampiric touch. So you know how the lightning...
Just set your hand up.
So, you know how with my lightning attack, I get to do the damage every turn, but it can only be on one target?
Right.
The reason I get to do this on multiple targets is I have to re-roll the attack to see if it hits every turn. So,
Let's see it.
20.
Yeah, that's going to hit.
They're going to hit. And then I do 3d6 damage, I believe. So that's 10 damage.
Nice. They're not looking super happy about that. Next we have Dusty.
Whichever one hits Skitata,
Mhm.
11 and a 9. Dusty is pissed at them.
That is a double miss. How did you go about that miss?
It probably tripped over the one that fell in front of him because he's just gone like full screaming, raging at the one that hit Skitata.
Okay, so you went sort of full rage. You trip over the one that's lying down in front of you, but now you haven't fallen because you worked out sort of what to do quickly enough. So you're just sort of at an angle now.
Very mad. I am in an acute rage.
Next up we have Skitata.
Skitata is going to use Green Flame Blade.
Ooh, tell us about it.
His spear is imbued with the magical green fire.
Fancy.
He makes a melee attack against one target.
Mm-hmm.
The fire then leaps to a second target, dealing fire damage to the second target.
Nice. So which one are you going for? The one that's taking damage or one of the others?
Whichever's closest to me.
Okay, so it'll be the one that attacked you. 19, that is definitely a hit.
10 and 9.
Okay, so 10 damage on the first target, 9 on the second. The second one is looking pretty beaten up, because that was the one that had already taken a bit of a hit. But now we move on to the spiders. So the first spider takes just like a swipe at the side of one of the doppelgangers, and just manages to pierce straight through its head, its little legs sort of dangling still. Seem to be kicking something firing in their nervous system somewhere, making something twitch. It sort of twitches and then it's sort of slung and hits the floor. The second one just bites the head off another. It's not at all pleasant. Another one sort of rams into a doppelganger, but it doesn't really seem to do any real damage. And the last one, again, tries to do a sort of ram and a bite, manages to bite into the shoulder, does what looks like quite a bit of damage, and we get to the doppelgangers. So the first type of doppelganger takes a swing at Skitata. That's a 15 and a 22.
Both hit.
That's 16 damage. How are you looking over there?
What was the damage on your turn before
15.
now?
15. I think that's killed me.
You're in -2.
So Skitata is out cold.
Oh no!
The next one's going to take a swing at Dusty. 24 and crit.
Hit.
So that's 20 damage. How are you looking?
36.
Not too bad though. Next one's also swinging for Dusty. That's a 7 and an 18. 5 damage. All the swings coming at you. They seem to be swarming you like they were swarming the Titan. And the last one, a 9 and another crit. That's another 11 damage. How are you feeling?
He's starting to pant a bit, but...
Prior feeling. That is 11 points of healing.
You're healing Skitata.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Hooray!
And it goes to up to 6 people around me. So also to Dusty.
Is it enough to pick Skitata back up?
14?
Yeah,
he will become conscious again if you cast healing.
Literally a single point would bring him back to 0 no matter how far below he was.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest just gets added on, so he'd be at, what, +10?
He'd be at +10. And in normal circumstances he'd be prone, but...
Prone doesn't really mean anything
Prone,
here.
Shimon. Brilmara, it's you.
Okay, so for my turn, I'm going to attempt to do my vampiric touch again. Are there any of them that look notably killable?
Yeah, the first one that's been wailing on Skitata.
Okay, well, I'm going for a revenge hit then. 10, does that hit?
That does indeed hit.
Okay.
Again, you just sink the hand. You are really good at this spell. Sink the hand into the shoulder. Like, you feel the squish as you sort of dig slightly into the skin. It's like the purple veins shoot through like lightning within its body, and then its life force is just gone.
Oops.
And it is an empty husk.
That one's dead. That's for you, Skitata.
Dusty.
It's such a shame that none of the things have been attacking me, the person who could free heal myself.
Dusty is going to go for the one that he tripped over and take that back up with it. 25-16.
Both of those are going to hit.
12-13.
You talk me through blowing this thing up.
So since he's already surrounded by a pile of them, he's just going to, like, flex a little bit to push them back, slam down on its head, and having worked out the physics enough, is then going to turn like a 180 spin, and then slam down from behind where he was before, and just sort of metronome it underneath him into paste.
Oh. And as you sort of smash it the final time, having metronomed the crap out of it, it just goes flying off into the ether, like Team Rocket blasting off again, but without a fucking head.
Didn't need it.
Right. Next up, we have Skitata, and you have one that has taken damage and one that has not taken damage.
I'll Eldritch Blast the one that hasn't taken damage.
Go ahead. Okay, 24 definitely hits. So you do 6 damage to the one that hasn't been hit so far.
Yeah.
And last up, D.
D will go and cast Cure Wounds on Skitata. 11.
That brings us back to the spiders, who make very quick work of the remaining 2. There's just crunching and snapping of bones, holes through people. It's unpleasant. And having sort of fought the surrounding ones around you, you notice a weird sort of squelching, cracking noise, like something huge, like an actual swamp being folded in half.
Oh.
And looking up, the giant boar titan is sort of folding and melting itself into what looks like more of a humanoid shape. It's ripping off and like crushing doppelgangers, which are with what have gone from trotters to like hands. And it's sort of crushing and slamming down on the ones not sort of nearer to it rather than the ones in the bit that were particularly focusing on you lot. And it seems to sort of pull almost sort of out of its own skin this huge whip. And it swings and can I have a dexterity saving throw from everyone, please?
14.
8.
3.
21. Jesus. I'm getting them good rolls in this fight.
Dusty, Skitata, and D, you are thrown back by the force of this whip just as it swings past you, and it just cracks and just seems to just splat a bunch of the doppelgangers. You're sort of pulling bits out of your hair and stuff, but a good chunk of them have just been completely annihilated by one crack of this whip. This thing is just stomping and splatting things around, and the last few doppelgangers that had been sort of making for an attack just start running away.
Brilmara's gonna message again, just as a reminder, we're not with them.
And it's this huge gargantuan face just looks down at you, and it's everything about it screams ancient. Just absolutely ancient, and it looks sort of exhausted with its own existence and the fight it's just had.
Get off my lawn, you doppelgangers.
And it sort of like turns around and strides away, and you feel like vibrations, as if something huge was walking away from you on ground.
Ooh.
But it's literally shaking the very plane around you, and it seems to just sort of wander off and curl up into a little ball, and you guess maybe go to sleep. But I would say you have solved the doppelganger issue.
You have solved your doppelganger puzzle.
Indeed.
Yay! Do we go back to the Spider Queen now and tell her we did it?
And with that success, the spiders offer to carry you back to the Spider Queen. It's only taken an entire series and a half, but Skitata finally got to ride an animal. Sorry, James finally got to ride an animal.
Can you describe for us how Skitata triumphantly rides this spider?
Backwards. Would that be fair, James?
I was expecting him stood on it like a captain aboard a ship.
Just surfing a spider.
This is Skitata's moment.
And Brilmara, you're just getting a message through that's just like,
Please, just get him to sit down. It's very... We don't want to drop him.
we're trying to make this as fast as possible.
I message back. Look, I can't take this away from Skitata. You got to let them have their fun here.
Fine. If he falls off, he can walk on his own.
And you make it back to the throne room, the hive, the nest, the central area of the Spider Queen.
Hey Queenie, did we did it? Did that fix it?
You have done excellently. And the primordial has returned to sleep. It seems everything is working again. Are you ready to return?
As long as we can move through at the same time as the people who are being freed so that we can, shake them down for reward money, yeah, we're good, I think.
There's a bunch of sort of people gathered in this room looking fucking terrified.
Yeah. Hey, all of you, we saved you. When we get back home, we're going to have a little chat about recompense. You're good with that?
Yeah, what? Just let us go home. Just let us go home. It's been horrifying. We've been here for months.
That sounds like recompense to us. Yeah, sure, let's go.
Does to recognise any of the doppelganger?
The ones that were replaced. No one you know.
Okay.
Were you hoping for someone?
Just out of curiosity, in case characters we knew had been spiders all along.
No one you recognise.
Who would dare doppelganger someone else? What an
A
atrocity.
doppelganger? Terrible.
Terrible.
Who could say such a thing?
The greatest of sins.
Indeed. You are led down to the ground? ? The city below you of Grivon. Basically to outside PolyArmoury headquarters. Before they shift you.
Yes.
And the shift with the spiders rather than going through the portal is very different. You're sort of encouraged to sort of hold onto them, like to touch a leg. And you feel like there's like a moment where you are in the ethereal plane and everything is that weird smoky texture. And then there's like flashes of colour and people walking past. And all of a sudden you're standing in the middle of the road outside PolyArmoury headquarters staff entrance, not the main thing. Didn't want to cause too much trouble. Standing next to like a couple of 6-foot spiders and like 20 or so rescued people.
Hooray! So, once we're back, Brilmara is going to turn to all these rescued people and go, so, back in the world, we did you a solid there. We came on this was a rescue mission, right team? Right team? Rescue mission?
Dusty nuts.
Very risky.
So, and being rescuers is really expensive work. So if any of you could give us any kind of, thank you for rescuing you, it would be super appreciated. It would allow us to rescue more people like we rescued you.
There's sort of a general confused looking around at each other and they start sort of turning out pockets.
We can set you up on a payment plan if you don't have anything.
Jane is getting a dice rolled.
Okay, between them, they managed to get you 156 gold and like just a couple of silver. That's everything they've got on them.
Well, I mean, that's more than we had when we went in there.
Well, thank you so much. I never thought I'd get out of there again. There's spiders everywhere. I just don't do spiders.
It's good that you're out, and should we ever need to amass any kind of army of people loyal to us, we'll get in touch with you.
Oh, thank you so much for saving us. I super appreciate it.
Collect all your contact details.
I don't have a pen. But sure. And they relay their contact details with you. You can add that if you want. You'll have a couple of people's contacts.
A couple of people who we can call on to, like, hey, remember how we saved you? We need you to...
Yeah, so add like a Durigar and a Drow contact to your list.
Nice.
Perhaps you shall be able to use them at some point.
Huzzah!
That's 39 gold each if we're split it evenly.
That's alright, that'll do.
Oh. Well then, I think that will do for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. I have been the mistress of this dungeon. I am Jane Aerith Magnet. I can be found on Twitter and YouTube as Maniac Janiac. I'm on SoundCloud as Jane Aerith Magnet, where you might be listening to this now. I'm also on stonemonkeyradio.blog, where I write things, twitch.tv/Janiac, where I stream on Tuesday and Thursday nights, janiac.redbubble.com, where you can get one of my fantastic t-shirts, and patreon.com/stonedmonkeyradio. As little as $1 a month would be super helpful.
Hi, this is Nick, and you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and stream at the Nick Flair. And if you'd like to read some media analysis and self-reflections that I'm writing, you can follow my blog at storieswithnick.blog.
I'm Laura. You can find me at Laura K. Buzz everywhere on the internet. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon. That's the one that pays the bills. LauraKBuzz.com. I do a series on YouTube every Friday called Accessibility, where I talk about video game industry accessibility and representation. I've got a bunch of books. There's Uncomfortable Labels, which is out now. It's about being gay and trans. There is Things I Learned from Mario's Butt, which is coming out on February 4th. It's an illustrated, silly and serious coffee table book of video game character butt reviews. And there's Gender Euphoria, which is an anthology of non-cisgender people's stories of euphoric moments they had in regard to their gender, which is going to be out at some point in the future when it's written. There's also podcasts. There's Pixel Squirt, which is a video game pornography discussion podcast with Mari and Stacey from Geek Remix. There's Dice Funk, which is another D&D podcast. I'm on seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, and season 7. They're all self-contained seasons. And there's Podquisition, where we talk about whether your favourite video games are great or perfect.
I'm Becky. I can be found as @Becky2Ill on Twitter. The last series that we recorded, Badly Designated Heroes, can be found under Curiosity Epidemic on SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. We didn't forget to record credits for James, he just doesn't have any social media presence whatsoever.
See you again sometime. Oh, bye.
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 We did it!